Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. We back again for another read, y'all. Now you know Topaz done found a new life. So we here to see what he gonna do this time. This week, we'll start off reading Losing Topaz by our author, James Colwell. Chill out, sit back, relax. Let's see what we gonna be losing with Topaz. Tell a friend, to tell a friend. We over here reading, y'all. Come on, sit down. Let's get into this book. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we're going to be back here every Monday for this good old read. Alright. Are you ready? Shh. Let's read. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner, where I am your girl, Miss Almond Brown, and we're going to continue our read of Losing Topaz, a book by yours truly, Mr. James Colwell. I hope you guys have been as relaxed as you could be on this day. I know it's a whole lot of going on, but you know, we're going to get into it. So relax your mind, relax your spirit, kick your feet up if you have to. And we're going to continue this read. I'm going to give y'all a little rundown on what happened in the first two chapters of the book. We know that Waleed tried it. So Waleed went and got him a little girlfriend to try to front, you know, that he didn't like boys, the little boys at that. And he told Topaz, you know, well, when you turn 18, it's just going to be me and you. He tried it by taking the lady to Topaz's adoption celebration, all that good stuff. And so Topaz mad child, and anyways. So we're going to start with chapter 300. We're going to see what Waleed and what Topaz and the whole family got going on right now. Whew, I don't know what to tell you. But welcome. Chapter 3. Evening the playing field. Oh Lord, what Topaz about to do? I didn't get much sleep, but I was feeling surprisingly refreshed when the morning came. I had a fresh new outlook on what I wanted for me. I could see that I had been putting way too much into Waleed. Though I am absolutely in love with that fool, I couldn't play the fool for him. The way I felt at the dinner was no different than how I felt when I was with my biological family, and I wanted those feelings to stay as far behind me as possible. I stood in my mirror checking out my clothes and making sure my look was flawless. I reared my head back and said, let's go. It's time to even the playing field and see if you can take what you dish out, boo. I grabbed my coat and backpack and I was out. The day at school was pretty uneventful, other than the 16 unanswered text messages from Waleed containing every form of apology you can think of, along with the occasional, I can't believe you're ignoring me text. I refuse to even entertain that mess. He needs to be taught a lesson and learn something. I don't want to be in this position ever again. The day was even more interesting. The day was given a more interesting climax when it was time for us to go to swimming class for the first time this year. I thought it was so dumb to have to take that class in the winter months and do a foreign language class in the warmer months, but what could I do? I just knew I wasn't going to be happy. JJ, Quan, Mike, and I all had chosen lockers in the changing area right next to each other. It was just more comfortable that way. You know how stupid folks can act, especially when you really aren't paying them any attention. I think it makes them nuts to know that every gay person doesn't want every person in the male species. We were given these horrible navy blue trunks that sag in the front. They were so unattractive. But if you wanted, you were allowed to bring your own trunks. JJ has a black and red pair of Speedos with matching flip-flops and towel. I have a topaz blue pair with Topaz engraved in the white on the waist in the front and the right side, matching flip-flops and towel. Mike and Quan had black and white loose-fitting beach shorts on. They had Mike's design logo on them. Mike had designed all of them for us. Of course, we were the last ones out of the dressing area. You know we had to make our entrance. You can hear the hush fall over the pool area as we walked to our spots on the side of the pool. Our swimwear, looks, and bodies were runway worthy. There were a few snickers and such, but we were used to that. These folks are so immature at times. The class was mixed with juniors and seniors, which made it kind of interesting. I didn't really want to get in the water, but I needed my grades, so I went in. As we were swimming laps and such, I noticed that I seemed to keep running into Tyleek Rudolphson. He is a senior and a dynamic player on the basketball team at Solis High School. He is rumored to have a baby by a girl quite a few years older than him that is out of school already. The first few times we ended up bumping into each other, I said excuse me and expected him to get upset, but he didn't. Then maybe 15 minutes before time to call it quits, the teacher had to step out and the guy started acting silly and throwing people in the pool and dunking folks, which is absolutely against the rules. JJ and I were out of the pool standing near the deep end. When I knew anything, JJ's eyes got really big. I said, what's wrong? And before I could get it all out, I was scooped off my feet, lifted into the air, and was being carried quickly toward the pool. I just held my breath and went with it. As we went in the water, I felt the tight grip leave my body and become more of a sensual groping. As we floated back to the top of the water, my behind was being massaged in a very erotic fashion. I thought to myself, I'm going to kill Mike for this. I never looked back. I just swam to the edge to get out of the water. And when I glanced over my shoulder, I was in shock. It was Tyleek, who was now absolutely cracking up. Some of the other jocks were egging him on and saying, Ty, you crazy, my dude. Tyleek gave me a wink and proceeded to get out of the pool. I was puzzled. I didn't know what the hell had just took place, but it made my stomach fill with butterflies. As we got changed back into our regular clothes, I had to calm Mike down. He was so upset by what had happened, I didn't say anything about the touching. I said, Mike, he wasn't picking or being mean, I don't think. He was just joking around. I don't feel he was being malicious at all, so calm down. He sat on the bench with just a towel wrapped around him and said, You just don't know. I will smash that skinny ass nigga. JJ said, Child, get him Topaz before this gets all blown out of proportion. Quan said, Yeah, chill dog. T is cool. There was no harm done. I stood in between Mike's legs and stooped down until we were eye to eye. All I had on was my undershirt and underwear. I said, Mike, you have to calm down, boo. We don't have an issue, and we were not going to make this an issue. The boy didn't do anything, so I'm asking you to let this go, Michael. He put his head down and started to laugh. I said, what is so funny? As he replied, First off, I think I heard half of what you just said, and the other thing is, you know you are the only one that could get away with calling me by my full name and me not get pissed. And the most embarrassing thing, just slowly look down. I looked down and staring back up at me was Mr. Mike's soldier, all ready for battle. I just looked back up and said, and you wonder why I don't get that started with you. He said, what? I said, that's about 10 good reasons I'm afraid of you. He said, it's 11, but who's counting? He started to laugh. I told him, I'm going to finish getting dressed. At least cover it with the towel. That thing had literally moved the towel completely to its side and freed itself. I had to move, because the more I stood there, the more I was realizing that I wanted to sample the goods. I told myself, Topaz, you know better. The friendship couldn't stand it. We hurried and got ourselves together and headed out for the next class. When we ran into Talik at the doorway to the staircase, we all stopped. He kind of chuckled and said, "Hey fellas, that was no disrespect meant. I hope I didn't piss y'all off too bad. Is it possible for me to holler at Gene for a minute?" I nodded at the rest of the crew, and Mike reluctantly went on up the stairs. Talik laughed. "Wow, y'all rolled up on me like Charlie's Angels, like y'all was gonna beat my ass. I wasn't trying to embarrass you or nothing. I hope you believe me. And I'm gonna be real honest with you. I know you felt me feeling you up. Little dude, you got the fattest ass ever. I couldn't resist. I had to touch it. And that was the perfect time to get that off my chest. Or so I thought. I want to spend some time with you, if you don't mind." I was in shock, and I guess he could see it on my face. He continued, "If you didn't guess, I am bisexual, and I'm digging the fuck out of you, yo." I said, "I guess that's okay, but the first thing is my name has been changed legally to Topaz. So, T or Topaz, no more Gene, or I would have to drop kick you." He laughed and said, "Shoot me your digits, short stuff, and I'll hit you up later." I said, "Whatever." I took his phone with a big grin on my face and locked in my number under short stuff. He said, "Cool," then rubbed my chin and blew me a little kiss and started up the staircase. The funniest thing about this was I didn't realize for about an hour how I was really feeling this little hookup. This might be good. But oh gosh, what about Mike? I would definitely have to keep this to myself. Later on that night, I was cleaning up the dishes from dinner when Mama J said, "Topaz, baby, I spoke with Trent from the church and he is really excited to have you try out for the choir. Is this something that you would like to do?" I replied, "Yes, ma'am. I love to sing. I just really wasn't allowed to when I was with my birth mom." Mrs. Jasper said, "What do you mean you weren't allowed?" I said, "Well, that's basically what it was. Anytime I sang, she would say rude things about my voice being so high and me singing like a woman. As I grew older and understood about music, I tried to explain it to my mom. That I was a tenor, but I have a really easy time reaching soprano range. She would always say that's some faggot mess and tell me to shut up and go sit down. So I would just sing when no one else was around. Until one day, I was home alone, cleaning and singing, and my mom came in and shut off the stereo. I didn't even realize she had come in. She had two of her girlfriends from work with her. I had been so caught up in my singing and cleaning that it took a few seconds for me to realize that the music was gone and I was still singing. Once I tuned back into reality, they were there toe-to-toe in the living room with her girlfriends, were now taking seats on the couch. The one lady said, "Baby, you was singing that shit. I thought it was a record." I said, "Wow, thanks." No sooner than I said it, my mom punched me right in my jaw and said, "I told you about all that damn screaming like a goddamn woman, fucking faggot ass motherfucker." Disclaimer, there will be a lot of cussing and other adult stuff being said in this book. Okay, back to reading. I just remember standing there feeling so embarrassed and disgusted. I'll also remember the blank and confused look on the women's faces. Mrs. Jesper said, "My God, the more I learn, the more I want to hurt Teresa. It was just all so unnecessary. But don't worry, baby. You have a gift, and we're going to work with you to develop it and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. But you should know that to be able to sing the way you do with no formal training is nothing short of a gift from God. You are not to let anyone silence your gift." I assured Mrs. Jesper that I would not let anyone keep me down anymore. So it was settled. I would be going to the choir rehearsal tomorrow along with Mrs. Jesper to audition for Trent. I had really not given any thought to the moment that he and I had at the Christmas party, but Mama J would be there, so I was sure everything would be cool. I I gave a hug and kissed Mama J, and we both retired to our rooms. I turned my television on and laid across my bed. It was around 7:45 p.m. My mom was going through the episode at the swimming pool earlier. I still couldn't believe things went the way that they did. I would have never guessed that Talik would be admittedly bisexual. I really needed to recharge my gaydar because that little tidbit went right over my head. It was crazy how comfortable I was with the quick groping session. When I thought it was Mike, I got a little bothered. But once I figured out that it wasn't, I was okay with it. A little strange, I'd say. About 10 minutes into me laying there, my cell phone rang. I just picked it up and answered dry. Yeah. I figured that I had ignored Waleed long enough today. Yeah. Wow, is that any way to answer your phone? I thought you said we was good, yo. I felt butterflies in my stomach as I sat straight up on my bed. I said, oh my gosh, Talik? I'm sorry, I thought you were my brother. I apologize. And we are good. What's up with you this evening? He replied, I'm good, babe. What you doing? I'm playing video games and chilling. I need to get up and get me something to eat. I wish you were here. Maybe I'd be able to get you to make me something. He paused with a slight chuckle. I said, maybe I would, and maybe I wouldn't. That's an earned benefit. He said, I feel that, yo. I'm really trying to make you mine, yo. I ain't even gonna front. I've been looking at you since 9th grade. I was all caught up in fighting what my feelings really were, and that's how I ended up having my daughter. Now, I love my baby. I wouldn't trade her for the world. But I ain't never been in love with her mammy. He paused and then continued. Whoa, that bitch gets my blood boiling. I take care of my seed. She don't want for nothing. But her mom is never satisfied with anything I do. It drives me crazy. But I'm not going to beat your eardrum with that drama. I don't know all that much about you. You kind of quiet and low-key. You probably got a bunch of niggas on your roster. I said, easy stretch. I'm not like that. I am good, and I try not to get into drama. My life was dramatic enough. He said, stretch? Oh, you got jokes. I can't imagine why anyone would have drama with your fine ass. And oh, your ass is so soft. I literally wanted to cry this afternoon when I grabbed hold of you. Child, the game, honey, the game. I almost couldn't get out of the water. My shit was on brick. But sometimes I'll be looking at you in class and feel my shit jump. It's time we do something about that. I laid back down and said, so is that your mission? Because he interrupted, no. I'm sorry. I want you. I'm willing to wait. But I got to get you on that level. If it's 20 years from now. I just smiled and said, oh, okay then. We'll have to work on that. And one day I'll explain my former home life with you. But not today. Just know that I'm happy now. Happier than I've ever been. He said sternly, I want to be part of your happiness, if you'll let me. I replied, well, that's all up to you. At that moment, I heard a beep on my phone. I looked and seen that it was Waleed calling. And all at once, I felt absolutely guilty. This is so crazy. He is the one in the wrong, and I'm harboring feelings of guilt. I said to Talik, let me speak to you later. My brother is beeping in. He replied, all right, sexy. Do you go to bed early? I said, not really. He said, is it okay if I buzz you later on tonight? I replied, that's cool. I'll talk to you then. I clicked over on the other line and said, hello, with a hateful tone in his voice while he started. So you just fucking ignoring me all goddamn day? What the fuck? I snapped back. Is there some reason that you think it's okay for you to be speaking to me like this? Because if you keep on, you'll be talking to yourself. Now let's start this again. He snapped again. T, I am not playing with your ass. I ain't having this. You running around trying to disrespect me and you're mad about something that is not going on? I sat up on my bed and said, actually, you are wrong, Waleed. I'm not mad at you. I'm done with that. I figured, why would I be mad at you for doing the same thing that you've been doing all along? And as far as disrespecting you, who the hell are you? He said, whatever, T. I told you that. I interrupted him. I'll give it a damn rest. I don't want to hear any more about that bitch and her fucking rugrat. Now let's move on. And if you can't move on, then let's hang up. He replied, ain't nobody hanging up, and you better chill. You want some old other shit. I just sat silently for a minute. Then I said, you really need to calm down. All that yelling and screaming like you're talking to me, like you're talking to some little kid, that's ridiculous, man. I told you, I'm over this garbage, and I'm done with it. Let it go. He said, okay, Boo Bear, I'm letting it go. So can I come and get you? I'm real horny. I need to smash that. I said, my gosh, is that all you ever think about? I'm not feeling like it right now. I'm tired right now. I'm going to try to get some sleep. Waleed then snapped at me. What the fuck you expecting me to do? This is bullshit. Do you think you're the only one that wants this? Because you got it all fucked up. I stood up in the middle of my bedroom floor and said, let me tell you something, Waleed. I don't know who you think you're dealing with, but I'm not going to be treated this way, nor have you speak to me this way. And anyone you feel like you want to give yourself to, you take and hand yourself over to them. I don't care if it's a man, a woman, or something in between. Just do it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. Do you think that when dicks were being handed out, they stopped at yours? I promise you they didn't. So do what you want to do. Just leave me out of it. And for the record, your approach is looking really bitchy right now, Mr. Straight. I sat back on the end of my bed and awaited him to continue his shouting. But he got unexpectedly calm and said, are you serious? Are you questioning my manhood? You couldn't be doing that, could you? Because as I recall, you take my dick on a regular basis. I breaks my dick off in your ass a few times a week. You deep throat my dick when I tell you to, bitch. So now, with your smart ass mouth. I was in shock. I couldn't say anything. I could not believe what I was hearing. Things that were shared on such an intimate level, being described in such a vulgar and useless manner. I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I all of a sudden began to feel so cheap. He started back in. So don't get all fucking quiet now. Say what you got to say. Or does the cat got your tongue now? I hope the cat enjoys it as much as I do when you're licking my balls. God knows you're a good cocksucker. I taught you well. By this time I was consumed in shame and anger. As I felt myself ready to burst into tears, I said, you know what, Waleed? How dare you? You have no class. Just go and throw yourself into the garbage and stay there until someone sits it out on the curb for pickup. He yelled, oh, you are a smart-mouthed little bitch. I said, you had better make it the last time you called me a bitch. He replied, what are you going to do about it, badass? You are a bitch. You are a spoiled, rotten little bitch, just like I made you. I lashed back out at him. Well, don't give yourself some credit. Make sure you get all the credit you deserve. And never forget that when you made me into a spoiled little bitch, you turned yourself into a sneaky, sideways, down low closet fag. And in that instance, I heard the phone disconnect. Hold on, don't go nowhere, y'all. We're going to have a little brief intermission. I can't. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. We back again for another read, y'all. Now you know Topaz done found a new life. So we here to see what he gonna do this time. This week, we'll start off reading Losing Topaz by our author, James Colwell. Chill out, sit back, relax. Let's see what we gonna be losing with Topaz. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We over here reading, y'all. Come on, sit down. Let's get into this book. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we're going to be back here every Monday for this good old read. Alright. Are you ready? Shh. Let's read. Child, and we are back, honey. Okay. That was chapter 3 of Losing Topaz. Oh, what is going on? Anyways, we're gonna get into chapter 4. Y'all know I don't like to let y'all wait, honey, because it's a whole lot of going on. Chapter 4, a new brand of mean. I had a bit of a time calming down after my argument with Waleed. I could not wrap my head around the fact that he thought he would get away with speaking to me in that manner. Well, what a mistake that was. At this point, I really didn't care if we never spoke again. When I was awakened by my alarm clock the next morning, I felt so drained, but this was to be expected. I only got about an hour and a half of sleep. I went ahead and pulled myself together and got on with my day. About halfway through, I remembered that me and Mama J would be going to the church to do the audition for the choir. I was actually a little nervous about it. I love singing, but after years of being ridiculed about my singing by my mom, it was a little strange to have to do it publicly. But my biggest fan was going to be there backing me. And what more could you ask for? I had to make her proud, so I know everything is going to work out. After dinner, in a short pep talk from Papa J, we said our goodbyes and we headed out for the church. During the ride there, Mama J reassured me that if I didn't want to go through with this or was uncomfortable, that I didn't have to go through it with the audition. I assured her that I was fine with everything and it was something I wanted to do. The last thing she said to me before we entered the church is, "Okay, sweet baby, don't get nervous. Just go in there and sing your heart out. I'll be right down front and the Lord will be all around you." I'm so proud already. You could actually see the happiness and the pride in her face. I told myself that I would not let Mama J down. I was going to try my best to make sure she wasn't disappointed. The first face I saw as I entered the church was that of Trent Dobson, Mount Temple's choir director and swift-moving seducer. He immediately flashed a beautiful white smile as he approached Mama J and I in the center aisle of the church. He hugged Mama J and said, "Good evening, Sister Jasper, and thank you so much for bringing this gift to the church. I have not heard singing like that in a very long time. You know this is basically a formality, to have him sing for the choir members and have them take a vote on his entry to the choir." Mama J replied, "We understand, but I must be honest with you, Brother Dobson. This is a two-way street, because just as Topaz is being auditioned, we will be auditioning you guys as well. If he is not comfortable with the choir, he will not be joining. He is very new to this whole fellowship situation, but I am not, and I've been a member here for quite a long time, and I do know the ins and outs. But we will trust the Lord to supply what is best for us all." Trent cracked a bit of nervous grin and said, "Amen." Trent then reached over and grabbed my hand and said, Welcome to choir rehearsal, young man. Don't bother me and Sister Jesper. Everything will be great. Don't be nervous. You have a beautiful gift from God, and I can't wait to hear you sing again. I just smiled a little as Mama Jesper grabbed my hand away from Trent and led me the rest of the way down the aisle to the front pew where we were going to be sitting. It struck me a little funny, but I didn't harp on it. If there's one thing I know about Mama J, if there's something on her mind, she'll definitely bring it up and address it. Mama J was making her rounds speaking to the choir members and hugging them as I sat in the front pew quietly. It was always a learning experience to watch Mama J in action. She was a master at handling herself and working the crowd, always using just the right amount of swagger to caress the unsuspecting subjects. You see, there were several of the women in the choir that Mama J really didn't care for, but I doubt if they really even knew. I always viewed this as a talent. I watched her constantly. I longed to grasp these skills from her. I definitely think it would be beneficial in my life. My birth family does not possess such skills. Whatever they think just rolls out of their mouths. Although there is a strength to being able to speak your mind and keep people off your back, yelling and screaming constantly seems to downgrade any semblance of class that you may possess. After about 15 minutes, Trent took the lead and instructed the choir members to occupy the pews as he motioned for me to enter the pulpit with him. I got up and joined him. He took my hand and turned me around toward the crowd of singers that were eagerly awaiting me to prove myself. He told everyone, "This is Topaz. He is a new addition to the Jesper family. All praise to God." A lot of you probably have seen this young man here at the church. He has fellowship with us on several occasions. I made his acquaintance at a holiday party a few weeks ago, where he sang the room into a hush. The Spirit of the Lord dwells in this young man, and I think he will be a wonderful addition to our choir. Just then he was interrupted by a full-figured older woman that is part of the choir. Her name is Sister Cheryl. She sort of snapped. "Okay, Brother Trent, let's let her sing and we'll be the judge of what's going on in the room." I immediately looked over to Mama J, who immediately looked at Sister Cheryl with a sideways look. There were a few chuckles in the room. Trent leaned over and whispered in my ear, "Ignore that wench. What are you singing?" I replied, "Jesus loves me." He started to cue the musicians to play. I tapped his chest and said quietly, No, I'm going to sing it a cappella." Once again, Trent stopped the action and said, "Get ready, saints. He is going to do this along with no musical accompaniment." He handed me the Bible, and I began to sing. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. The church was silent. I refused to look into the faces of the choir members. I focused on Mama J and Trent, who were now sitting side by side in the first pew on my right. I continued, "Little ones to him belong." As I proceeded to sing, Mama J gave me a confident head nod. At that point, I was totally comfortable. I closed my eyes and let go, blocking out everything around me and committing myself to the song. As I approached the end of the song, I could ultimately feel the movement in my surroundings. I opened my eyes to find Trent bowed down just a few inches from my feet praying. Mama J was just standing in front of her seat in the pew and crying with her arms wide stretched out to the sky. There were choir members in the aisles calling on the name of Jesus, and a few others crying and rejoicing in their seats. It was the strangest thing I had ever experienced. It was almost like the stillness in the room when I sang at the Jesper's Christmas party, but multiplied in intensity times over. It felt really good and complete, and there was no negativity hanging over the act of my singing, like when I was with my birth family. Trent stood up and hugged me tightly. He was crying. He said very softly, "Songbird, that was perfect. Just perfect." He then went on and turned toward the folk that were still in a bit of an uproar and said, "What did I tell you folks about this young man and his gift? If you didn't feel the anointing, then you need to clean out your ears. Let us all take our seats and begin the voting and share any comments and or suggestions." As he moved through the 22 already existing Mount Temple choir members, the yes vote was clear, with the occasional "Thank you, Jesus," and "God bless you, child," thrown in. The choir was made up of mostly older members of the church. Trent was the youngest person, and he was 24. Next were Sister Cheryl's twins, Terry and Terrell, who were 25. The strangest set of twins I've ever encountered. Terry was a female and unattractive. She looked a lot like their mother. Terrell is a male, and he is definitely a looker. They were the last three to give their votes. Terrell said, "Yes, indeed. Good job, man." Then his twin sister stood and said, "Sorry." Her mother stood up next to her and said, "Me either. And he ain't even a member here at Mount Temple." Mrs. Jesper stood up and said, "Hold it. What does that have to do with his audition? This is not a requirement that you be a member of Mount Temple, as long as you are not a member of another church. He is new to the church, and you never even gave him a chance to decide if he wanted to join. And besides, he was requested to audition by Trent. So any discrepancy like that should be addressed to your director, not my son." Sister Cheryl stood stern and nasty as she stated, "Well, Trudy, I do believe that we are entitled to our own opinions. And if we don't want that kind of singing in our choir—" Mrs. Jesper interrupted. "That kind of singing? What does that mean? I would love to hear an explanation of that kind of singing. But before you start, you should know, it's not Sunday, and I'm not playing church this evening." Trent intervened by saying, "One moment, ladies. With the vote as it stands at 20-2, this is irrelevant. So, if Topaz would like to join the choir, he is more than welcome, and he can make his decision on when to join Mount Temple in his own time." He turned and looked at me and cracked a nice little smug smile. Though it was a nice touch of damage control, the pot was already boiling. Mrs. Jesper continued, "All that's cute, but I need the good Bible-toting sister to explain her comment." Sister Cheryl responded, "I don't have a problem with that. Y'all know me." Miss Jesper said, "Unfortunately, we do. And I guess today is as good as any for me to introduce myself for all those who were confused about the fact that a heavyweight has entered the sanctuary. I don't play church, and as I explained earlier, I praise heavy. I am heavy on what's right and what's wrong, and I come down heavy on those who try to stand slyly behind the Bible in judgment. So continue with your attack, my good Christian sister." There were gasps and chuckles going on as if we were on a school recess field. Sister Cheryl continued, "He has a very feminine tone to his voice, and his look isn't much better. I just don't find that he would be a good look for our choir. That's all I'm saying." Before anyone else could say anything, Terrell stood up and said, "Mom, no, we can't." She interrupted him and pushed his chest, which made him stumble back into a sitting position on the pew. She said, "Shut up, boy. You don't tell me nothing. You hear?" Mrs. Jesper was fast approaching Sister Cheryl as she demanded, "I beg your pardon, hon. You see, this is what I'm talking about here. You're playing games, and I'm not entertained. Not by any means. Just what are you saying? What does his look have to do with anything? But even still, look again. Baby, he's dressed and he's fine. That's not just because he's mine. A blind man can see that when it comes to the visual, baby, it couldn't be anything but jealousy on your part. Because let's face it, you are not in the good looks category, sweetie. And he will outsing you, and you know it, hands down. So just how jealous are you? Sister Cheryl's mouth was hanging open in disbelief. Her daughter Terry blew up. You better watch your mouth, ho. In the church house? In that instance, the room became quiet. I looked at Mama Jesper's face. Her eyebrows had gone up almost 2 inches on her forehead. She leaned in and said, really quickly here, I am a woman. I am a woman of substance, a God-fearing woman. I am a woman who has a husband who knows and appreciates the kind of woman that I am. I am the mother of 2 men who love and adore the kind of woman that I am. One thing I have never been is a hoe. And how dare you little girl stand in my face and accuse me of being anything like your mother? That is just ridiculous, as are the 2 of you. Mrs. Jesper stepped back and gave the 2 of them a look of disgust that said a million insults. It was brilliant. I walked up to her and grabbed her hand as Trent approached the area. He said, ladies, please. I looked at Trent and said, there's only one lady involved. Come on, Mom, let's go. I don't need this scene in my life. Sorry, Trent. Thanks for the invite, but I can't. At this point, Sister Cheryl was getting a bit rowdy and yelling. Nobody wants that fag in their choir. You can say whatever you want, Trudy, but God hates fags and all those that deal with them. So go straight to hell. Terry joined in and said, there's no one to screw you here, homo, so don't come back. With that, Terrell walked out of the pew and proceeded to leave the church as the argument erupted. I had taken enough. I said, you don't know a thing about me. How dare you make assumptions about what I want or what I need? What do I do to either of you? Sister Cheryl said, oh, you think you're the victim? We are the victims. Having to look at your disgusting display of faggotry, parading around like a little woman. Nobody's interested in going ahead with you. You are a demon and you need to be destroyed. God hates you. She then threw a Bible that was laying on the pew at me. It hit my shoulder. I was absolutely stunned. But before I could even gather my thoughts, Mrs. Jesper had let go of my hand and grabbed Sister Cheryl by the hair and punched her 2 times, really hard in her mouth. You better come on, Mama. She was spewing blood from her mouth. She tried to tussle a little with Mama J, but it was to no avail. She had dragged her out of that pew and into the aisle where she had pinned her to the ground and was steadily banging her head against the red carpeted floor. Okay. Terry was trying to get to the action. I stood in front of her and said, do not touch my mother. Just stay out of it. She grabbed my shirt and tried to hit me in the face, to which I blocked her hand. Before she could swing again, she was yanked away from me with an incredible force. When I looked over, it was her twin, Terrell. He yelled, stop this, now! His twin sister stood still in her spot without moving a muscle. Mama J and Sister Cheryl had been separated by this time, and Sister Cheryl was now standing as still as her daughter. It was so reminiscent of when my Uncle Joe snaps out and people just know to chill or be prepared to pay the worst of consequences. Terrell continued, this is a disgrace. I am so embarrassed. Mama and Terry, let's go. None of this is necessary. It doesn't matter what your personal thoughts are about this boy. He didn't do anything to anyone here. And you call yourselves Christians. Sister Cheryl was wiping blood from her face on a cloth that a few of the women had given her. She interrupted him and said, you just remember, boy, honor thy mother. He replied, I do honor you, Mama, but what is right, and what is wrong, God will not bless. And this was wrong, Mama. And you and Terry were out of order. Terry yelled, "Just shut up, you punk!" Terry replied, "Listen to you. We are in a church and you are still acting like a wild animal. You two need to remember what the word says. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil full of deadly poison." He stood quietly as did everyone else. Then he said, You didn't follow the word. Hate spat from your mouths, both of you. And you judge this boy and condemn him to hell? Such deadly and poisonous words. I love you too, but I cannot stand behind this behavior. Let's remove ourselves before our family name is tarnished by anything further in this place. I beg you. He looked over at me and said, "I am so sorry. Please know that I am sorry." He and his mother and sister headed out of the church. Everyone was kind of looking around and shocked of the power in which he had spoken. I went over to Mama J and she said, "Are you okay, sweet baby?" I said, "I'm fine, Mama. Can we go?" She said, "Of course." She turned to the choir members and Trent and said, "What can I say? Thank you for a lovely evening of fellowship. May God forgive the indiscretions of this evening. I apologize to you all for my part in this monstrosity." Trent assured that we were not at fault and the apology was due to us. We exited the church, and while making our way to our car, we seen Terrell standing out front pacing back and forth. Mama J said, "Son, is everything okay?" He said, "I'm just disappointed with the events that occurred. I don't like confusion, and I'm afraid this is just the beginning of this episode for my family. My mother and sister said they felt betrayed, and they left me here saying they want nothing to do with me. I've been trying to get a friend of mine on the phone to pick me up." Mama J said, "Well, being as though I feel partly responsible, and I am also a lover of peace when it is possible, I'll give you a ride home. I know the way to your mom's house, and I'm so sorry. It is always complicated when you decide to move opposite of the crowd. Topaz knows that way too well." Terrell said, "Oh boy, I really appreciate that, Sister Jasper, but I don't live at my mom's house any longer. I rode with them because I let a friend use my car." He explained where his apartment was, and it turns out it was actually closer to our home than his mom's place. All of us got into the car, and Mama J said, "Terrell, again, I'm really sorry that we had to go through that episode tonight. The last thing I wanted to do is have an altercation with someone in the presence of their children. It is very awkward." He replied, "No need to apologize. You and Topaz were being victimized, and if you corner folks, that generally come out fighting. So I understand. I love my people, but they have a tendency to bully, and today just wasn't a good day for bullying." He then changed the subject and said, "I hope you pursue your singing, Topaz. You really have an instrument there, man." I replied, "I intend to keep singing. I really enjoy it." When we dropped him off, he leaned over the seat and kissed Mama J on the cheek and said, "You're such a lady. Thank you." She just smiled and told him to take care and wished him luck with patching up the family differences. Once we got home, I went to my room. I was feeling really low. I thought about the situation and the tears began to flow. Here, I didn't have Waleed to talk to, and I wasn't happy with the world. He always seemed to be able to make that go away. How would I deal with these feelings going forward? A few moments later, I heard a knock on my door. I got up and opened the door, and there he was, like a perfectly carved statue, made of chocolate milk. What, made of chocolate? I'm talking about chocolate milk. He said, "Mom and Dad are downstairs. I just spoke with them about that bullshit at the church. I'm ready to fuck them bitches up. What's wrong with these people? Are you okay?" I said, "Yes." He asked, "Really? Well, why are you crying?" I explained, "Every time I turn around, it seems your mom is being tied up in some crap with somebody doing or saying something to me. And she keeps having a battle with folks, and it's all my fault." It's so unfair, and sooner or later she's going to get sick or taken up from me. I immediately went into a hard cry. By the time I lifted my head, the whole family was in my room. Mama J said, "Are you kidding? As long as I have breath in my body, I'm going to stand up for you, no matter who brings the drama. And I'm not just Waleed's mom. I am the mother of you both. So stop this second guessing your placement. You're here, and that's final. We rise and fall together as one unit. We stick together no matter what. That's family. And we are family. Got it?" I replied, "Yes, ma'am." She hugged me and kissed me on the forehead and said, "Y'all are messing with my resting period. Me and Dad are going to bed. Good night, boys." And with that, the two of them exited the room. Waleed said, "Let's go downstairs." I got up and followed him to the game room. Once we got down there, he grabbed me in an embrace and said, "I miss you, and I know you miss me. You can't be running around not answering my calls and blowing me off." He began kissing my neck softly and whispering, "You miss this, don't you? I want to make love to you tonight. Are you going to let me service your body tonight? I'm hungry for you." He started running his hands up and down my body. It was making me so weak, and as much as I wanted to decline his offer, I couldn't. Within 30 minutes, we were at his apartment, and it was like a sex marathon. We went at it until neither one of us could go another round. I was literally worn out. My legs were still shaking as I lay in his embrace. And he was right. I did miss this. And scene. Those are the two chapters 3 and 4 of Losing Topaz. Oh my goodness. What did you guys think of these two chapters of this book? Baby, I can't deal. Why are they always fighting in the church? Baby, they always fighting in the church. I can't take it. I can't. I'm going to drop the link just in case anybody wants to come up and we'll discuss what happened. But I can't with this family and this fighting. Why everybody got to bother Topaz? The man just wanted to sing. Sister Cheryl and her daughter Terry acting a whole fool. Listen, but Mama Jasper, baby, it's some quiet ones. And she said, "I am a woman of substance, honey. My children know who I am, and they love me. My husband know who I am, and he loved me too. And what I am and have never been is a hoe." I said, "You better tell her, child." Mama said she ain't never been no hoe, okay? You better stop playing, little Terry. Nah. I just knew Topaz was going to have to box Terry upside the head while Mama Jessel was handling Sister Cheryl on the floor. But is this I think this is like the second or third fight we done read about in the church. Why is it in... I'm so embarrassed. I am low-key embarrassed for them, the fact that they are fighting in the church. Listen, we're going to do our church announcements. Hello to everyone that may be joining us. If you are just now getting here, you're going to have to red ball it back to the beginning, baby, because you missed two good chapters, baby. 2 good chapters. But real quick with my church announcements, if you got to this far in the broadcast and you have not subscribed, why? Go ahead and subscribe to Almond Brown 09. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit your bell so you can get all my notifications when I upload. Every Monday night, we are here at the Almond Delights Reading Corner, where we will continue our read of Losing Topaz. The next week is chapter 5 and 6. And this book is not very long, so we may be done in about 2 weeks. I don't know, 2 more weeks. Also, if you are on Instagram, go over there and follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/almondbrown09. You can listen to this on the playback on YouTube as well as on my podcast at anchor.fm/almondbrown09. I have other shows over there on my podcast as well, not just my reads. I also have other books that I've read over on that podcast as well. You can check out the playlist here of all of the other books that I have read here at the Reading Corner. Don't forget, every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless I say so, we have our Friday night red light special where we come back for a good old grown-up talk. Ooh, y'all don't even know what we're going to be talking about this week, but baby, it's a treat. it's a treat. And then I just do random uploads in the morning times, maybe when I'm riding to work or whatnot. Who knows? I don't know. But if you are an author and you are listening to me read, if you want me to read your book, you can email me at almondbrown09@gmail.com. Or you can just send your book. Hold on real quick. Let me put it up on the screen. You can send your book or other gifts or whatnot to my P.O. Box, almondbrown09 at P.O. Box 1058, STARKE, STARKE, Florida 32091. And I will happily read your book here on the channel. So yeah, if nobody wants to come up, like I said, I really enjoyed this. And I saw somebody say, well, they like the action part of the book. I think that was Sexy. What is it? Sexy Sky Doll. Yeah, she said she liked the drop. Well, no, that was Shadia that said that. Girl, yeah, and the brother is the only one with sense. Terrell, baby, he the only one with sense. Look, Louie. You said, oh Lord, him and Topaz in the back seat. So you think the brother got a little sugar too, girl? Lord Jesus, they fight in the church, family gatherings, anywhere. Listen, a treat in gray sweatpants. Is that what you said? Child, I can't deal. Tori mom, girl, I don't know why it happened in the church. Hey, Cinnamon Goddess. Listen, I don't know why it happened in the church. But anywho, I'm going to let y'all go on about y'all business. But I really appreciate you guys for joining me tonight at Almond Delights Reading Corner. And y'all, when y'all see James out there, tell him how y'all feel about the book. Oh, also, and I tell y'all, when the video ends, if y'all can please, like, I don't want to be begging y'all and stuff like that, but can y'all please come back and leave a comment on the video itself? Because if the chat isn't up already, that'll still let people know that's coming for the replay, that you know how you enjoyed the book and everything. And it'll also let the author of the book know, because he does come back and watch the video. That'll also let him know how you enjoyed the book. So if you can please, I said please, please, if y'all can please come back and leave a comment under this video when I end the live or whatnot, I will appreciate it. Also, liking the video and leaving comments helps to put us in the algorithm, so people can come over here and interact and join us at the reading corner. So I appreciate it, you know, in advance. But like I always tell y'all, I love you guys with the love of God, and there is what? Child, ain't nothing y'all can do about it. Okay? Bye, y'all. I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.